Yeah.
All right, lead heads, welcome back to the Talking Lead podcast. I'm your host, Lefty, and this is episode 264. So hope you guys enjoyed our last episode, 263, where we had some great news from our watch sponsor, Defi Watches, Smith Bradley, Jeremy Smith, and they've got some big things going on over there. They're in an upcoming movie starring Bruce Willis called 10 Minutes Gone, and they've got that new TV series on the Discovery Channel that's called Discovering Water, and their watches are going to be featured in that series as well. And then, of course, you guys have heard us talk about the Zoobox. The Zoobox release has finally happened, and you guys can go get your premium monthly watch subscriptions over at Zoobox. I think you still have a little bit of time. It may have run out, but you can still get that discount off the premium price. So go check them out, Zoobox, over at Indiegogo. So this week, I'm bringing you guys, probably, I don't think we've ever had this category of guests before, but we're actually bringing in somebody from the print media side of the gun industry. I'm going to introduce Robb Manning to you guys now. So Robb is the current editor over at Gun World Magazine, and he's got a wealth of history behind him in firearms, and he's going to bring a lot of knowledge to you guys today. So welcome in, Robb.
Hey, how you doing? And I want to start off saying thank you for having me on your show. It is an honor.
Well, yeah, and actually it's not your first time on. You were with us in Poland, and Robb was on our first episode when we got back from Poland, and we talked a little bit about our trip there with Robb and David and Mike. So it's really not your first time. I take that back.
That's correct. That's correct.
This is your first time as a featured guest, we'll say.
Yes, and that sounds kind of scary.
Well, you've got a very interesting background, and you do have a lot of knowledge in the firearms industry. So I thought you would be perfect to have on and introduce to the Lead Head Brigade. So we're going to get into learning more about Robb and Gun World Magazine. But first, Robb, I hear that Jackwagon train rolling in. So, Gunny, bring that train in.
Hoorah, Semper Fi, do or die, hold 'em high at 8th and I. It is time for the Talking Lead Jackwagon of the Week, so brace yourself, baby.
All right, guys, the train is here, and we've got some Jackwagons that we want to load up on this thing. And I typically will start with my guests first, Robb. If you would like to take the honors, feel free.
I would love to. I would love to. All right, so, and this was actually my letter from the editor in my November issue. I had to do a little mini rant on the AMA, the American Medical Association.
All right, and this is in Gun World Magazine.
Yes, Gun World Magazine. They put out a little memo back in June about new common sense policies to prevent gun violence. Okay. I always get scared when these people start throwing out common sense.
When they say common sense, you know what's to follow is not...
It's not going to be either. It's not going to be common, or it's not going to be sense.
It's not going to be sensical at all, yeah.
That's right, that's right.
So what have they said?
All right, so at first, they had the whole thing about advocating for schools as gun-free zones. So they're against teachers, anybody like that having guns, for protecting their students.
Yeah, themselves or their students, yeah.
Right.
Which, to protect themselves is, in our Constitution, it's the constitutional right for them to be able to do that. but yet their constitutional rights are being infringed.
Yeah, so they're against that, of course. The whole AR-15 thing, the whole assault rifle thing, they got into all of this. One thing I will say about them that they did do that I actually kind of like, one of the exclusions is that they are actually okay with school-sanctioned shooting activities. So they're actually okay with kids like, shotgun, skeet, stuff sanctioned by
archery, stuff like that.
I'll give them credit for that. But that's like the only thing I'll give them credit for. If you read this little flyer deeper, they're talking about not only calls for ban on gun sales, but actually ownership also. And they're talking about registering firearms and firearms owners being registered, talking about the legal age for purchasing any firearm or ammunition to be brought to 21, which since, you become an adult at 18, I think that's a clear violation of the Second Amendment.
Yes.
Which I'm kind of glad this discussion is coming up because honestly, our handgun laws of 21, I feel like that's unconstitutional.
It absolutely
is. I would love to see that go before the Supreme Court and get lowered to 18, as it should be.
Well, I mean, even 18 is unconstitutional.
Well, I mean,
when you say constitutional, I mean, it goes against your God-given right. Even at 18, I mean,
right.
Even at 10, even at 5, like you were saying earlier, I mean, my 5-year-old shouldn't have a gun. Well, if they're trained properly and they can do, I mean, everybody's different as far as their level of responsibility and their level of maturity.
Right. And my kids all started shooting when they were at 5.
Yeah.
So, but I would not let them.
But we have to
own and be responsible for their own gun.
Because we know that that's not a good idea. That's not going to be very responsible. Now, there are 16-year-olds out there that are very responsible and will be fine with a firearm. 15-year-olds even. I mean, I'll even go as far as to say, 13-year-olds. When I was 12, dude, I was out with shotguns and hunting rifles, and I never killed anybody, never shot myself.
Everybody's different.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. Everybody's different. Everybody's got a different level of maturity and trustworthiness, I guess is a good word to use. But I think that falls upon the individual, family, parent, whatever that may be. It doesn't fall upon the government to tell us. Just like wearing seatbelts. I hate that. I think that's unconstitutional to force us to wear seatbelt. If I don't want to wear seatbelt, then that's my own stupidity. Again, that's Darwin's theory of evolution, survival of the fittest. But at the same time, I shouldn't have to be told by the government and forced by the government to do that. So that's my take on it. There's my rant.
Got you.
So you've got this article in your Gun World magazine. It was a letter to the editor. Is that right?
Letter from the editor.
Okay.
Yeah, how us editors, we like to talk, and so we have our little front page.
You like to kick your magazine editions off, every month.
Yeah. So, and that was for November. That was my upfront letter, was my rebuttal, if you want to call it that, of their policies, and they're against concealed carry reciprocity also.
And this is the AMA, the American Medical Association, weighing in on our gun rights. How does that have anything to do with what they're tasked?
Well, and that's a funny thing you mentioned that, because I pointed out in my little rant that they should focus on important things that they actually have an effect on, such as mental health.
And they have, yes, exactly.
If you look at most of these shootings, there is some underlying mental health issue.
There absolutely is, and that's what they should stick with their expertise.
Right, yeah. Instead of weighing in on gun laws, how about actually doing something about mental health? And I want to point out, though, this is not doctors. This is their lobbying group. So it's, I know many doctors, and I go shooting with most of my doctors I go shooting with just for fun. So this is not representative of all doctors. This is just the AMA. Right.
And this is a group, a board. Is this a government thing, the AMA? Is that a government?
No. It's okay. It's like I said, it's like a lobbying
their
group.
Industry group. Okay. But that's
now the funny thing. I got one thing I wanted to point out too, and I actually did not put this in my rant, but the AMA, positioning themselves about the NRA, and then you want to start talking about morals and virtue and stuff like that. Now I find it interesting as far as discrimination and stuff like that. The NRA was actually the first national organization to allow minorities and black folks into it. The AMA, believe it or not, did not allow black people until the 80s. And then even in the 1990s, they still had some of their policies, kind of like blue book law type things, were discriminatory against minorities in a group.
Right.
Which is why there's other groups that had to form the NMA, National Medical Association, which is the black doctors basically, but they had to form up because they were not even allowed into the AMA until the 1990s.
Yeah, there you go.
So you want to talk about, morals and virtue and stuff. The AMA,
hypocrites, hypocrites. Yeah. But Robb is married to a black woman. Going to marry. I don't mean to offend anybody, but so Robb is not racist at all.
I think for the
Robb is a white guy.
Most part, it's your intention of what you call somebody and how you call it to them. But I don't know. I just say black.
Right. And he's married to a beautiful woman, so he knows where he's speaking from. But what I was going to bring up is, you talk about the AMA and sticking their nose into stuff that they're not familiar with such as the firearms industry. Mike Sodini with Eagle Imports has started a new movement, a new nonprofit. It's called Walk the Talk America. And what he is doing is he is bridging that gap between the firearms industry and the medical industry, so mental health, where all these gun shootings are happening, the left is blaming it on the guns, the right's blaming it on mental health. There's a bit of both that come into play that causes this chaos when we have these mass shootings. But nobody's addressed it. Everybody's just pointing fingers. So Mike has gone and he started this organization called Walk the Talk America, and gun industry folks and mental health industry organizations are coming together, and they're having conversations. They're discussing what we can do together as different groups to help with this issue that we're having in our country now. So I think that's great. I wanted to mention that. We're going to get Mike on. Mike is a regular on the show. He will be on the show, and we're going to get him to talk about that organization. So something to look forward to, Leadheads. But before we continue, I want to thank the sponsors of this show. I got so excited to introduce you, Robb. We got to thank the people that make it possible for this show. The official optics of Talking Lead is Right On USA, RITONUSA.com. And you guys can go to their website now, and those new 1-to-8s are posted on their website, so you can actually check them out. Look at those reticles that they've got for the hunting version, and then they've got the tactical version, which is the one that I have. I'm getting ready to mount that today, Robb. I've got it right here. I'm going to show it to you. Now, I know you've been in touch with the guys, too, and they're going to send you some to check out. You guys are going to review them in your magazine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I have not used any of their optics yet.
Yeah, so you're going to be pleasantly pleased. So this is the 1-to-8.
That's a good-looking piece.
And it's got that tactical reticle that I've talked about on the show. I just got my mount for it. So Warren Scope Mounts. Leilani, thank you so much for sending this. I'm going to be mounting it with Warren's X-Scale mount. It's a 0 MOA. And it's a 34 millimeter one-piece mount. So it's beautiful too. Can you see that?
I can. Yeah, that's a good looking scope and mount.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm going to put it on my 18-inch Nordic Components AR-15 5.56. And then they also sent me a torque wrench tool because the importance of your mount is just as important as your scope. So
I have that same mount or the same wrench. Warren. I love Warren. They also have that one there is for putting a mount on your AR. They also have one that's a little hand jobby thing.
This one right here?
Yep, that one right there. Yeah.
She sent me both.
On a ring.
She sent me both. So it is very important to make sure that you get the proper torque when you put your mounts on. You don't want to over torque it. You don't want to under torque it. So And each manufacturer has their own recommended torque, so check with your scopes manufacturer. But you guys go check out Riton at ritonusa.com, R-I-T-O-N. What was I doing? I was thinking our sponsors. Modern Spartan Systems. You guys heard me talk about Modern Spartan Systems, and we've got that big shoot coming up with Charlie Melton. That was supposed to have been this week. They've pushed it back another 2 weeks, I guess, due to weather. So we're going to go out to Utah. We're still working on that. Hopefully we'll be able to make this since they keep pushing it. But Charlie Melton, are you familiar with Charlie?
I am.
Robb?
I am. I've talked to him at Big 3 East.
That's right. So he's going to go for the next world record long rifle shot, and he's going to attempt 7,000 yards. Wow! 7,000 yards.
You know, he's kind of one of those legends that you don't really hear. You know, people out there outside of the gun industry don't really know him, but that guy is a living legend.
He is. He trained Chris Kyle. He trained Marcus Luttrell and some other ones we probably haven't even heard about yet. But
we kind of have that Somali tie. We were both in Somalia. Not together, but we were both there.
Yeah. So
I was actually in the movie, Black Hawk Down. The caption at the very beginning.
You were in it?
Mentions, I wasn't in the movie, but I played a part in the movie. The introduction with the text, it says the Marines at the stadium, and then they left. That was me. I was at the stadium.
Cool. That was a shout out to your group. That's awesome, man. So that shoot's coming up, and hopefully we'll still get to be a part of that. But Modern Spartan Systems is a part of that because that's what Charlie uses in his guns to keep them clean and keep them super accurate. Their products actually increase the accuracy of your firearms. It's been proven. So you guys go to their website, modernspartansystems.com, and check out their line of products for your firearms to make them more accurate and keep them clean. Modernspartansystems.com. Check them out. And then, of course, X Steel Targets.
X Steel Targets.
The best, most affordable AR-500 steel targets on the market today are X Steel Targets. You can check them out at xsteeltargets.com and look at their fine line of targets that they have there. They've got anything and everything that you could need for the competition shooter, for just the everyday plinker, for law enforcement, for the 3-gunner. And if you can't find what you need there, they can custom make targets for you. Call Bud over at X Steel Targets. And then you've seen my swag. You saw my T-shirts I wore over in Poland, and we've got tumblers that are better than Yetis. You guys want Talking Lead swag? Go to 1776united.com, the official provider of Talking Lead apparel and gear and kit. 1776united.com, baby. All right, now that we got that out of the way, Robb, let's continue with our Jackwagon Train. So the AMA, welcome to the Jackwagon Train. This is your first visit. We're going to keep a close eye on you. And hopefully this organization that Mike Sodini has started will get you guys off that. But our next Jackwagon is actually a listener-submitted Jackwagon. How many times have I told you guys you have to check your facts? So when you see a story, don't just automatically accept it as true, as real, as factual. We did the hurricane one a couple of episodes back. One of you lead heads had posted something about this guy shooting at the hurricane and killing himself. That wasn't true.
That's been around for a long time. I think every hurricane that comes through.
Yeah, that pops up just about every time. So another one, and this is a long-time lead head, and I'm very surprised that he made this post. And he may just be joshing, I think he probably knows it's a hoax, but it says, my Jackwagon submission, student puts horse laxative in lemonade because he was bullied. So this is actually not true.
Oh, no.
You guys are probably, who have Netflix, and you've seen that, what was that episode called? American Vandal. It's a mockumentary, which is a fake documentary about people that go around and sabotage things, just like they're talking about here, putting laxative into school lemonade. There's a video goes around, shows kids pooping their pants in the hall and teachers throwing up and, all this crazy stuff. It's not real. It's fake. So, so Kenny, if you thought that was real, then you're a jackwagon. And I'm just playing with you, buddy. But I appreciate you submitting that. I think he was probably just testing me to make sure that I'm testing.
I think it's just funny, so I think you just wanted to share that.
It is funny. It's funny as all get out, man. So if you guys haven't seen it, you go to Netflix and you can watch it. It's called American Vandal. There was one about this guy going around spraying dicks on everything, on people's cars, their houses, their pets.
I didn't see that one either. I gotta watch this.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But it's on Netflix. So nice try, Kenny. You didn't get me. I didn't fall for it, but I appreciate it. But a real jackwagon, and this ties in with our topic today. We've got Robb Manning on the show with us, editor of Gun World Magazine. And I don't know how I missed this, and I may have, but I don't think I did. But Kroger, which is one of my favorite grocery stores, I love shopping at Kroger. Get my gas there, get the points for buying groceries and stuff. So sometimes you can get up to like 10, 20 cents off per gallon. Love that. But earlier this year, they started pulling their gun magazines from stores. And I didn't actually realize this because I don't typically buy my magazines at Kroger anyway. They did this. It was around March this year. Kroger announced that it will pull popular gun magazines from their stores. And among titles like Guns and Ammo, Firearms News, Recoil, SWAT, Gun World Magazine was one of those as well. So Kroger is going to be joining my Jackwagon train. I think they're attributing it to lower sales or something like that, but I think it's just them jumping on that bandwagon, trying to get that small niche market, of people, so they get some sort of recognition during all this bandwagon, like Dick's and REI and who else? Who are some of the other companies that jumped on that? Some major corporations. I think that would take
up a whole show of yours just mentioning the names. There's
right,
a lot of...
right. So Kroger is my jackwagon, and it had nothing to do with diminishing sales. It was everything to do with them jumping on that bandwagon.
It happened that same week.
Yeah, it happened the same week. So it doesn't matter when you do it. We will come back and find you and throw you on the jackwagon train. So Kroger, just because you thought you got away with it, you didn't. we caught you.
The bad thing about this, you look at FBI crime statistics, and there's 800 murders per year with rifles, and that's all rifles, not assault rifles, quote-unquote assault rifles. 800 a year. 30,000 people die drinking and driving, and I think there's an estimated 70,000 alcohol-related deaths per year. But yet, Kroger's still selling alcohol.
Yeah, and cigarettes, and tobacco. Think about all the mouth cancer and lung cancer and, all that. So, and they're still selling gas for the vehicles, for all the, how many just traffic accidents,
Well, we actually do need to drive, though.
Well, we do, but we also do need to have the ability to protect ourselves as well.
Oh, I agree. I'm going to slap somebody with a
magazine. We can walk. You can still walk. You can still ride a bicycle. There's other modes of transportation that people could use. Look at in Japan and China, they use bikes. When we were over in Poland, people were walking everywhere. They walked and walked, and we walked and walked.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, we definitely got some exercise in.
Oh yeah, yeah. We like to. In Europe, they like to walk a lot and bike and.
Yeah. So there you go, Kroger. Welcome to the Jackwagon train. I think that's it. So you guys, you want me to read your Jackwagons on the air. One, make sure they're real Jackwagons. Don't try to catch me. Don't try to catch me off guard, Kenny. But submit those to talkinglead@gmail.com and put Jackwagon in the subject so I'll know what you guys are sending me. Easier for me to find that way. Do you have any more? Anybody else you want to throw on the train before it gets out of here?
I think that's it for now. I think I need to we talked about me being back on your show again, talking about Poland and all that, more of the trip, me and Dave and everything. So maybe I'll get some more Jackwagon names for that.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, Gunny, get that train out of here. So now we're going to learn more about Robb. We're going to hit you with
the Talking Lead New guy questions.
Robb, question number 1. How did you originally get involved with firearms? What's your earliest recollection of being exposed to a firearm?
Man, my first exposure was probably about like when I was 4. My stepdad, we went into, and this is how safe things were back in the 1980s. He had a log. Actually, it was like a tree stump, but it was, I would say maybe like 2 feet in diameter, and it was about a foot thick. And he had it sitting on top of our wash machine in the basement of the duplex we lived in. Yeah. And he took me, and I got to shoot his little .22 pistol.
In the basement of a duplex.
In the basement, because it was the 80s.
Okay.
Right. Like I said, I think I was like 4 or 5, and right afterwards we had a beer together. No, joking.
No, you had a shot of whiskey. What? Where was this? What state?
This was in Illinois. I was born in Illinois.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Of course, in the 80s, Chicago wasn't that bad, I don't think, with its
it wasn't anywhere near Chicago.
Anti-firearm.
Really, really small town.
Yeah.
In the middle of northern Illinois, 800 people.
Nice.
As big as the hometown I lived in back then.
A little small town, yeah. It seems like everybody grew up in a small town.
That's the way to do it, man.
It's like nobody was born or grew up in a big town. They moved there. So do you have, and I know you do, law enforcement, military background experience?
I do. I went into the Marine Corps in 1990. It was a week after I graduated high school, and I was in for 10 and a half years.
Okay. So you put the time in.
I did.
You was a Marine. And you said you were over there during the Black Hawk Down incident.
It was actually, I was there before.
Right before?
Yeah, I went in. I was there for approximately like 3 months or so, and I got there shortly after the actual invasion, the little staged, the little beach invasion we had there.
Yeah.
I got there shortly after that, like a couple of weeks, and was there and left. I think my actual first night in country was New Year's Eve.
I got you.
And then I was there for like 3 months. I was in Mogadishu for a month, and then we went up to Bardera, down to Bardera. Sorry.
What's going on in Bardera?
Oh, not a whole lot. A lot of camels.
A lot of camels?
A lot of camels. Yeah. No, it was my understanding. It was a long time ago. It was like a trade route type thing. There were weapons coming through the area, so we had a little outpost. There was one in Baidoa, one in Bardera.
Cool.
Not a whole lot going on there, though.
What's your fondest memory during your service?
Jesus, the whole thing, man. I love the Marine Corps. I miss it. I miss it since getting out. I'd have to think about this. There were so many of them.
First one comes to mind that you can talk about.
I can't. Well, that's the problem. What I can talk about. This is a family show, right?
No, it's not. It's really not. It's adults. If you got kids listening, plug their ears.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not really a specific event, but being 18 years old and over in the Philippines. It was before we shut our Philippine bases down. There was just a lot of fun. Some of the events that went on, and any of the military guys.
Once in a lifetime experiences.
Yeah. Exactly. Getting tattoos and drinking and just.
What's your first tattoo you got as a serviceman?
First tattoo I got was right out of boot camp. It was during my Marine combat training, MCT, right before School of Infantry. I went to San Diego and got a little skull with a dagger in its mouth and a Marine Corps hat. It says USMC on it.
Nice. There it is. That looks like a first tattoo.
yeah, that's our boot tattoo. That's what we call stuff like that.
That's funny.
And then shortly afterwards went to the Philippines, and I got like 8 tattoos there.
Okay, nice. So you're tatted up.
Yeah, they're they're $25 a piece, or they're sometimes $10. I mean, they're cheap.
Yeah, I can see they were. Just teasing. I'm teasing. So, is there? Well, let me ask you this: what's the first firearm that you purchased yourself that you could call your own? That was your firearm.
When I was 16, I bought a 12-gauge shotgun for deer hunting. In the county where I was at in Wisconsin at the time, we could only use shotguns for deer hunting. So
gotcha. Now you're in Wisconsin now, right? We can say that.
Yes.
Okay.
I actually moved to Wisconsin when I was 5. I was in first grade. We moved to Wisconsin, grew up there my whole life, went to the Marine Corps, got out in late 2000, early 2012. November 2000 I got out. And then I stayed in Tampa for a while. I was at U.S. CENTCOM when I got out and transitioned. I became a contractor at U.S. SOCOM for a very short time.
Mm-hmm.
And then my plan was either to stay in Florida or move to Texas. I love Texas. I was stationed there for a while. But I ended up, my wife's job, we ended up moving back to Wisconsin, ironically, where I was from, and that's where we've been ever since.
Yeah. And your wife's a doctor, right?
She is, yeah.
Yeah. So that's another reason, he's got such good knowledge of the AMA and that stuff. So
yeah, I get their little, I don't know, actually my wife forwarded me the newsletter. She's like, you got to see this. Yeah.
Keeps you in the know. There you go.
Yep.
So that was the shot. Okay, what's your first handgun that you owned?
First handgun I owned. I purchased a little Walther PPK.
PPK?
And, yeah, it was around, I think, 1996. Around
be like James Bond, didn't you?
At the time, I was going through this thing where I was watching all the James Bond movies.
Exactly.
on VHS. And I went out and bought one.
Awesome. That was actually, that is kind of what got me into it as well, and that was the gun that I wanted to own, the first one that I wanted, but I couldn't find one. Couldn't find a Walther PPK. Ended up buying a Glock 17.
Nice.
Was my very first handgun. So,
when was that?
It was right before we started doing Talking Lead, because that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start doing this podcast was I was just getting into and interested in our Second Amendment rights. And up until then, I guess it was probably about 8 or 9 years ago, was my first handgun that I personally owned. Now, I had revolvers and things like that that my dad had, and of course, always had rifles and shotguns. And growing up, I was like 5 when I was blowing stuff up at the in the backyard with the 410. But that's why I started the show. Is I wanted to learn more about not just handguns, but also our Second Amendment rights, our right to carry. The laws, the safety, the training, there's more to it than just carrying. You have to know how to use your firearm, when to use your firearm. It's a huge responsibility. It's not just, I'm getting this gun to protect myself. Well, you also have to think about the responsibilities that come along with owning that gun, and if you use that gun, because you're responsible for that bullet as soon as it leaves that barrel. Even before it leaves the barrel, you're responsible for it. Because somebody could take your gun, you're responsible for that, as well.
Yeah, I got little kids living in the house, and you have to be aware of that.
Yeah, so it's it's a huge responsibility, and it's not for everybody. It's not, and I don't recommend everyone carry a firearm, even though it's your right. You may not be mentally, physically capable to responsibly do that.
Well, and as far as self-defense, there are some people who are not mentally capable of handling the repercussions of shooting somebody.
Right.
And just for an example, and I always talk about there's 2 types of people in the world. There's breakers and fixers. And my wife, of course, being a doctor, is a fixer. And so for her, shooting somebody and killing them is not something that she really wants to do. So,
right.
For her, we looked at alternate stuff like tasers and things like that, because, she would if she had to. And my wife is actually, she's kind of a little badass. She's, next month, she becomes black belt.
Okay.
And, Jiu Kwan, which is kind of like what Bruce Lee studied. And she's also in the Army Reserves for 5 or 6 years as a doctor. So, she wasn't running around shooting people or anything, but she's a very capable woman and of taking care of herself. So she could shoot somebody if she had to. It's just something she would not really prefer to do.
Well, here's the thing. Nobody wants to shoot another person. Deep down ingrained, nobody wants to do that. Okay? And nobody's prepared. No matter how much you think you're prepared to take another life, you're going to be affected by that. You don't know how it's going to affect you, unless you've done it before. Obviously, law enforcement, military, people have done that. And I'm not talking about them, okay? I'm talking about your everyday Joe that's out there, like myself. I think that when it came down to it, I could do it. I think I'm prepared enough, I've trained enough that I would be capable to do that, to do what needed to be done. Would I want to? No, absolutely not. Wouldn't want to. And that's part of your training is look at alternate solutions, I guess is the word I want to use, to the altercation. Running is always an option. Walking away from a situation is always an option, But if you can't and it comes down to it, nobody knows until it comes down to that time where they're going to be able to do it or not. But that's why you train, because reflexes. Once you get your motor skills down, you get your reflexes, it takes that hesitation out if you have
to make that choice.
If you have to make that choice, yeah.
As you said, hopefully
you don't have to. Yeah. And that's the majority of people carrying right now is the majority of the people out there will never have to make that decision, and that's good, and that's what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, nobody really wants to take another life in that situation. And,
sure. No, nobody
and especially also there's the legal ramifications of taking a life. I mean, you might be innocent, but you're going to spend a pretty penny on lawyers to...
Depends on what state you are, too.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go to jail and...
That plays a lot into your decision to whether you want to carry or not, too, or the laws, your local laws and whatnot, too, because some of those states are completely anti-gun, if you defend yourself, you're supposed to try to hide and run away and, take 5 or 6 knife stabbings before you kill somebody. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So
before you carry, be educated.
So let's continue with our line of questions. What was I asking? How did that whole thing start? Your first handgun that you owned, I guess is what it was. Okay.
Yeah. Well, first handgun.
So is there or has there ever been a firearm maybe that you're a little bit ashamed to admit that you owned or own?
All of my firearms are awesome. First off, I like to say, there's a lot of haters and bashers out there because everybody wants, everybody's, hey, mine's the best. It's brand X or nothing, and that's automotive. That's
like NASCAR.
Guns, that's everything. Yeah, everything. I'm not that way with guns. I love all guns if they work. Now, if I get a gun, and I get probably because of articles and because of photography, I'm probably getting in like 2 to 3 guns per week. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of guns that go through my hands, and if they work, I like them. There's been maybe 1 or 2, not a whole lot, that did not work, and I was not a big fan of those guns.
And this is me, when I get a gun like that, I want to fix it, and I like the challenge of trying to fix it and make it better. So when I get one of those, I'm actually a little excited about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then he's like, hey, I found something that's not right with this that maybe I can help them improve upon and make it better. But yeah, I mean, there are some guns that I wouldn't give a dime for.
With that, and there's one particular gun in my mind, and I'm of course not going to say any names. And this is actually a long time ago. This is maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago or so. But I got the gun and tested it, and it jammed every magazine. And it was always the second round of the magazine, and it was the way it was tilted. Yeah. You could see the round; it was not tilted in a manner to go into the chamber. It was feeding,
yeah.
Yeah, and so I talked with the company, and their first thing was to accuse me of limp wristing it.
Of course.
And I told him, I said, and this was actually for my YouTube channel, and I told him, I said, look, I got a video of every single shot I ever fired through that gun, and you could see I'm not limp wristing it.
Right.
And it kind of torqued me off, instead of saying, hey, let's work through this and figure it out, it was just automatic, you must be limp wristing it.
Yeah, user error.
Yeah, so, I sent the gun back, they looked at it, I don't know if they did anything to it, and they sent me probably 20-some different magazines, and it was all the same issue. Yeah. And it was with their extended magazine. The normal size, it was like it was a subcompact gun, sure. So it was like a 6-rounder, I think, 7-rounder, and the regular magazines worked. It was the extended magazines.
Gotcha.
So
you can tell me what that was off air.
Yeah.
So when it comes to pop culture, what is your go-to, whether it's a movie, a TV show, maybe a book or magazine, or maybe a social media page? What's your go-to that's gun-related? pop
My
culture.
go-to gun-related pop culture.
Yeah.
Man, that is a complicated question.
It's really not. What do you enjoy?
It is because, well, now we spent a week together in Poland.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I have a very eclectic taste in just about everything. Movies, guns.
Let me do this. Movies.
Music.
What's your
books.
go-to movie?
It's easy for me to say all of them.
What's your go-to movie? What's your favorite movie?
Man, I love 300.
300. Nice. With
There's
Gerard Butler.
It depends on what kind of mood I'm in. If I'm in like a milsurp firearms mood, then I watch like Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
If I'm more in like current, John Wick, those movies are just incredible.
Yeah.
If I'm in like my com block weapons type mood, then I'll watch like Enemy at the Gate.
What's one that you're maybe ashamed to say that you enjoy? It's a guilty pleasure.
Does it have to be gun related?
No.
Dude, all right, this is embarrassing. And I don't know if it's embarrassing because I watched this movie or embarrassing because I'm 46 and this is my first time watching it. But about a month ago, I have no idea how this came up. I think it was because I was watching something about Austria.
Yeah.
And Austria is beautiful if you've never been there.
I haven't.
We watched The Sound of Music. For one, I hate musicals. I hate them. But it was actually a pretty decent movie in like a really corny way.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed it. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, I hate musicals too, and I guess probably the one that I watched that I enjoyed, it was a newer one, and I talked about it a few episodes back. It had Hugh Jackman in it. I didn't realize it was a musical when I first started watching it.
You're talking about the circus guy.
Yeah, I can't remember what Greatest Showman.
Yes, that was actually a good flick.
It was. It really was, and I'm kind of glad that I stuck it out and watched it. And probably the only reason I did was because Pepper was with me and she made me. So otherwise, I would
watch with my family. I do a lot of family stuff.
Yeah.
Well, family man.
So what about TV? When it comes to TV, what's your favorite TV show?
Ooh, there's a lot of them. I'd say probably number one, Walking Dead. I love Walking Dead.
Good one. Yeah, I like The Walking Dead too.
Rick's gonna die this year. It's his last. I don't know if he's gonna die, but it's his last.
I don't think he's
season.
gonna die. I think he's just leaving, and then that way that
How
gives
else
him.
can he leave though without
Just
dying?
just like Morgan left. Morgan left.
Yeah, but Rick's. Well, I guess he could leave with his kid. But I mean, if he left,
No, he's dead.
Shown.
His baby. Yeah, his baby. That's right. He's got his baby.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I can't picture any other way of him leaving his show except dying. I just can't picture it because he's dedicated to his crew. He wouldn't leave them.
Well, unless he's saving one of their lives that he has to leave. Maybe somebody's like, hey, because they're trying to overthrow him. Maggie at the end of it, Maggie and Daryl and Jesus.
Well, that was the cliffhanger. I don't think they're actually going to try to overthrow him.
I think that's probably what's going to make him leave. I think they're going to say, hey,
but
dude.
He's never really wanted to be in charge, though. It was just kind of put at his feet.
Yeah.
I think he'd be fine with letting Maggie run the show.
Well, I think he probably would too, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, that's why they do what they do. They leave us hanging. I like X-Files. X-Files is my go-to. I can watch over and over and over and over and over and over again. Probably because there's like 30 seasons. I don't know.
Yeah.
there's a lot of different episodes.
Show. Have you seen the new reboot of it?
Well, I saw the where they continued the seasons.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't
just
a
like
reboot.
Last year they did. They just started it up again after.
Yeah, it wasn't a reboot. They just continued it. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. Yeah.
So now I wanted to watch it because
Scully
I used to
is
watch
hot,
X-Files.
man. Love Scully.
I got one episode into it and it was just so political I couldn't watch it. So I got like half an hour into it and I'm like, I just can't watch it.
No, they got better throughout the.
Have they?
Yeah, they got a little better. I don't know if they're still doing it or not.
This Hollywood thing of these little
jabs, little political jabs.
Yeah, the little jabs, the underhanded jabs constantly, and it's
they've
annoying.
always done it. I mean, even in MASH, when MASH was on, they were doing it.
Yeah,
so
it gets annoying after a while.
I know, but you got to take the good with the bad with some of this stuff. So TV, is there? You're not a gamer, I'm sure you don't do video games or anything like that, do you?
Why would you say that? Are you because of my age or because of what?
Well, just because you're a busy man.
I'm a busy man.
And you seem to be more outdoorsy, kind of.
Yeah, that's true. I love games and I love playing them, but yeah, I don't have time.
Yeah,
I would love Call of Duty and all that. And it's frustrating because you get on there and these little 12-year-old kids whoop your ass, and it's like, hey, I actually own that gun, in real life.
Right? Yeah, but they know how to use it on the video game.
Military combat training. Yet that that does not translate well to video games for me anyway.
No, you didn't have the unlock code for the cheats on it, so they can.
I hate that. Yeah,
they get auto aim and unlimited ammo and all this bullcrap.
Dudes flying through the air, twisting, and
right. Yeah.
No,
Battlefield.
I love games. Battlefield 1, which is the world. I'm a big history buff, but the World War I, that was awesome.
Yeah, I've got that one. Yeah. I like that. I like Battlefield 4 the best. That's the one I really like.
Those are good games.
Dig that.
Yeah, I do not play much. I'm pretty busy.
Gotcha. Books, magazine. Now, you're an author as well. That's something that we need. So you've got a couple of books out. Talk about your books.
Well, I have my first book was the Glock Quick Reference Guide from Gun Digest.
Yeah.
And that one has done well. It's they actually went into 2 printings after the initial one. And now I just, in the past week, signed a contract to write the second edition of the book. So,
congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. And then after that, I co-authored a book with Doug Howlett, and that was the Shooter's Bible Guide to the AR-15, second edition.
Okay.
And then I wrote the Gun Digest book of CZ.
Very cool.
So,
and where can people get your books?
You can find them pretty much anywhere that sells books. You can find them Barnes & Noble. You can find them online, Amazon, pretty much anywhere.
Gotcha. Now, do you have a website where you're featuring those books?
I do not. I used to have a personal website, and I've let it go a long time ago, and I just never really restarted it again. But
gotcha.
I guess I probably should.
Okay. And, of course, you're a magazine editor now.
Yes.
You kind of built up to that. Talk about what led you to where you're at today with Gun World Magazine.
Well, and I'm assuming you're talking about my writing career.
Yes, your writing career.
So I've always been pretty vocal, starting off with my politics. And I used to write the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. I used to write them letters to the editor all the time just because, most newspapers are anti-gun and kind of lean a certain way, and I lean the opposite way. So I used to write a lot of letters to the editor. And one time I was reading AR Guns and Hunting, and they had an article about the AR-15, as their name implies they would.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of disagreed with some of the aspects of it. They were anti-charging handle. I'm sorry, not charging handle, forward assist, bolt forward assist, and I'm pro just because of how I was trained on the firearm. It's part of the loading process.
Yeah. Now we had a discussion on that on our Facebook page not too long ago. We had one of our subscribers say, do you recommend getting one of the slick AR uppers, that doesn't have the forward assist, doesn't have the dust cover,
Right.
And it boils down. It's a matter of personal preference.
See,
nowadays.
For hunting, I use it especially, but it was part of my Marine Corps training. When you load, you put the magazine in.
With, yeah.
Yeah, you load your round and you just tap the forward assist. And with hunting, I like it because you can ease the bolt forward and chamber around, and then hit the forward assist, and it's chambered, so you don't have to slam the bolt while you're up in your deer stand and make a whole lot of noise. So that's a big reason why I like it.
Well, you bring up a good.
I wrote this letter to the editor, and the guy, he's like, "Dude, you write better than most of my writers. Would you like a job?" And that's how I got started gun writing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that?
2010.
Okay. So about 8 years ago.
So I started freelancing. I wrote for AR Guns and Hunting magazine, Mark Ollis, and love the magazine. And then I did Predator Extreme magazine, Gun Digest magazine. I wrote for them for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Modern Shooter. And then I also wrote for a little Wisconsin newspaper, an outdoor newspaper called On Wisconsin Outdoors. I had a couple columns in there. Wrote for them for a long time. And then May of 2016, I became the editor of Gun World.
Very cool. Congratulations. And that's where you are today and doing a fine job.
Thank you, sir.
Now, we're going to finish up with our new guy questions, and then we're going to get into talking about Gun World Magazine. So the next question is, what is your next gotta have, wanna have, what's your bucket list, firearm or piece of kit?
Well, bucket list firearms, it's kind of different from the next gun, because the next gun I'm going to get is probably the one that gets in my hand. My bucket list, I really want a 8-inch Colt Python. That's been on my list for a while.
Rick Grimes.
Yeah, well, and not just because of that show. Actually, I used to read, it was a shoot 'em up series of books I read in the 80s when I was growing up. And the main protagonist, that's what he carried, was the Colt Python. And I've wanted one ever since.
And what was that? What was it called?
It's called Able Team.
Okay.
It was, a lot of people heard of Mac Bolan, perhaps, if you grew up in that era reading gun books. But anyway, it was related, kind of same author group.
Okay. Are those like paperback books?
Yes. Yeah, it was like the dime store, one came out a week, I think, or something like that. And I was a huge bookworm.
Okay. I was into comic books. I did comic books.
Were you? Yeah. I never really got into comics that much.
Yeah.
I like the characters. I just didn't really, I like to read and like get in depth in the words and all that.
Well, some of the comic books do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so your paperback book led you to the Colt Python.
Yes.
Nice.
And a few years back, you could find them for $1,000.
Yeah, but thanks to Walking Dead and Rick Grimes, damn it.
Yeah, that's a lot of money for an old revolver. But then the whole Rick Grimes thing came out, and now, dude, you can't. I mean, $3,000, $3,000,
yeah.
Things
if you can find one.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Definitely. And I've always wanted a broom handle Mauser. That's another one, and a Luger.
Yeah, that would be cool. Mine's still the PPK. Mine's still the Walther PPK. I still haven't got one of those.
Yeah. Now, of course, the one I'm drooling over, as far as like new guns, that probably my next purchase, just got Bill Wilson from Wilson Combat just sent me his new 300 Hammer.
Oh, sweet!
And that's a 30 caliber cartridge, better than a 7.62 by 39, better than a 300 Blackout, and it's in a standard AR-15 size platform, so it's not in the big AR-10.
Nice. Then what's called the what?
300 Hammer is the name of the cartridge.
300 Hammer.
Right now, it's proprietary through Wilson Combat, but he's trying to talk Hornady and a few other manufacturers into loading it as well.
Okay.
So that's something. If your readers or your listeners are interested, they can maybe talk to Hornady or Federal or whoever. And
now, I would assume you're going to do an article on that.
It'll be coming.
Okay.
Not sure when. I actually just picked it up yesterday, so I haven't even shot it yet.
Okay.
But the cartridge and the rifle are pretty intriguing to me.
Interested in seeing how it performs. Yeah, definitely.
He's shot over 200 hogs with it so far, and off the top of my head, if I remember correctly, I think he said all but 2 dropped in the spot, or were one shot.
Now, is it supposed to be a longer distance than a 300 Blackout?
It's more specific for hunting. It's more accurate, has better internal ballistics, and
because I've gotten great performance out of my 300 Blackout for hunting. As long as I keep it under 300, I'm fine. I got no problems whatsoever.
I have never used a 300 Blackout for hunting, but I have a associate, and I'm not going to mention any names because I like to always clear
sure
stuff like that before I throw out names.
Yeah.
But he is shot on his ranch. He's a guide, and he owns a ranch. He shot over 1,000 hogs on his ranch, and most of them with the 6.8 SPC, which he's a huge fan of, and as am I. And he always hates it when he has customers come out with the 300 Blackout because they just do not, in his view, they don't perform as well on hogs. Most of his lost hogs that they've never recovered are from 300 Blackout.
Really? Okay. Well, I've not done hog hunting with it yet. Just more deer and like coyotes and things. So I haven't really, and I can see maybe because they're a lot thicker, tougher hide animal. Maybe that broad 300 Blackout may have some issues with the penetration.
Right.
I could possibly.
I'm not
see
an expert on a 300 Blackout. I very limited knowledge on it. I have popped a couple of porcupines with it. We had the porcupine conversation when I was in Poland.
Yeah, it's funny. All right, so what is your next laws be damned, money be damned, gotta have, wanna have, if you could buy it today, what would you put in your arsenal?
Oh, that'd be easy.
It could be a gun, it could be a vehicle, anything.
My TO weapon when I was in the infantry, the M249 saw.
Sweet.
Belt fed.
Now that's actually obtainable. You could still legally own that.
Well, I have the semi-auto version. From FN. I bought one. I do have that.
Yeah.
But I want the full auto
That's still attainable. Think
they
bigger.
Are extremely expensive because there's not a lot of them. I'm told LeBron James has 2 of them. I don't know if that's true or not.
I would say so, probably. Yeah. But think bigger. I'm thinking, no laws apply. To hell with all the laws. To hell with any amount of money. If I could own this, I would own it.
Well, shit. Now, if you're going to say that,
yeah,
I'd say the minigun with the A10 Warthog.
Okay.
I'll take the A10 Warthog.
With the A10. Yeah, there you go, yeah.
Or maybe an M1 Abrams.
I like the way you said that. The minigun with the Warthog, yeah. Throw that Warthog on with it. Nice. Yeah, that would be ideal. And the knowledge to be able to fly the damn thing.
If I can afford that, I can probably afford the pilot to
the fuel and
Is that a 2-person jobby or 1? I don't even know.
The Warthog?
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know. Let's look it up real quick.
I think it's a 2-person jobby. I'm not sure, but
that cockpit is so small.
I could hire a pilot to fly, and I could just man the gun.
Let's see. So I'm on Wikipedia. The Fairchild Republic A10 Thunderbolt 2 single seat. Twin turbofan. Commonly referred to by the nickname Warthog or Hog. So, yeah, single seat.
Maybe an Apache would be a better choice for me because I know that's a 2-seater, and I could actually have that landed like in a smaller area. I wouldn't need a runway.
Why not just get both?
There you go.
Laws be damned, money be damned. I'll have both. There you go. All right, final question. If you could spend the day at the range with anyone, any person, any group, whether they're dead, alive, or fictional.
Man, God, that's a tough one. I told you I'm a history buff, so there's like a lot of historical guys.
I said a group of people.
I'm going to keep it simple and just keep it one person. And I've kind of run into this person a lot in the last few years, and I have always thought, I haven't really had like a formal introduction, and I've always thought
Jerry Miculek.
No, but I've always thought, the next time I see him, I'll we'll talk and introduce himself. Because a buddy of mine used to shoot next to him at a rifle competition. He says he's like one of the nicest guys you'd meet.
Oh, dude,
I've always planned on meeting
Poland.
This guy.
We met in Poland. You met me in Poland.
Yeah. All right. Well, my second choice then. I've already shot with you at the range.
That's right. We did.
So, but anyway, my choice, my second choice, of course, after you,
right.
I lost my opportunity because he passed away, and that would be the Gunny.
The Gunny. Yeah, he is. He is a super, super, super nice guy. I had the opportunity to
up into celebrities a whole lot, but he is one of those guys that just people are drawn to him, and it's such a nice guy.
He is, and he's a genuinely nice guy. Like I said, I got the opportunity to speak to him many times, just outside the public. And he's just a super, down to earth.
I would love
guy you just want to hang out with. Yeah, absolutely. He will be missed.
Yes, definitely. He is missed.
Which is why we continue his legacy with the Jackwagon Train. So Godspeed, Gunny.
You know what's funny? The whole drill instructor thing, because you watch like Full Metal Jacket, and he nailed that role. I mean, of course he should because he was a drill instructor, but
yeah.
I mean, it's like when you're in boot camp and these drill instructors do that. They get like an inch from your face and they yell at you, scream at you, and you hate them. But yet you kind of love them, even though you hate them, they're doing it for your benefit.
Yep.
And there's
saving
just so
your
much
life.
respect. And so with him, the public, even though he had that role as a drill instructor, everybody you love him and admire him and respect him. Gunny Hartman, you know?
Well, he transcended far beyond just drill instructor.
He did. So, he did.
With his other roles that he did in some other movies. He was in the X-Files. He was in the early episodes of the X-Files. I saw he was in something else that I saw. I was like, I can't believe that's the Gunny. Gunny was in that. He was young, too, at that time.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I could remember what movie I was watching.
Yeah, he's been in a few things, but I mean, he's kind of known, though. I mean, you watch like Mail Call and all that stuff.
Yeah, he's known for his History Channel.
Drill instructor role, Is
it the History Channel that was on, or Discovery?
Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah, one of those. I think they continued that one that he was doing. I know.
Lock and Load.
Lock and Load. Is that it? Is it?
I think that's what the name of it is. I actually have it on my DVR.
Is it Kirsten Weiss that's doing that, or what's her name?
They have had a couple of people on there.
Randy Couture did it one time.
Did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it was the first one.
The Terminator, the second one, the liquid one.
Patrick.
Yeah, Patrick. He was on
Robert
there,
Patrick.
the host.
Yeah, he's also on the X-Files.
And what's his name? Baldwin. Not one of the Baldwin brothers.
Adam Baldwin.
He was in Full Metal Jacket.
He was in Full Metal Jacket, yeah. He's in Serenity.
No, he's in Platoon.
Platoon, yeah, he was in Platoon.
Serenity, that's the best one. Yeah, Jane. Yeah, so he did the host. He was actually pretty good, really good.
Yeah, I like him. He's a good pro Second Amendment guy. I think he comes to the NRA. And
when I find out these celebrities that are pro Second Amendment, I mean that takes some guts, I think, for them. Because that could be your career. You know, you can be blacklisted.
Well, Shane from The Walking Dead, also the Punisher.
Yep. I love the Punisher TV show. That is awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Second season comes out pretty soon.
Now you're talking about the Marvel stuff here. You know, that's came from comic books.
Well, we had this discussion. I like the characters that are in the comic books. Yeah. I just didn't really read the comics.
But if you read them, you would like them because the stories, I mean, they're just like you're seeing on the movie there. They're actually a little better than what you see on the screen. You know, they get in a little more depth.
But they've been out for like 30 years.
A little darker.
Start. I mean, that'd be like going back and reading like 10,000 comic books.
Well, that's like sitting down and watching, 7 seasons of whatever.
But you can marathon that on
you're
Netflix.
You're a bookworm, man. You're a bookworm. You get through it. So, speaking of bookworms, let's talk about Gun World Magazine.
Yes.
Talk about the history of Gun World Magazine for our listeners who aren't familiar with it.
Well, it was actually founded by a Marine, and we, in 2019, are hitting our 60th anniversary. So we've been around.
Nice.
Yeah, first issue came out in 1959. So we've been around, if I remember correctly, I think we were around a couple of years longer than Guns and Ammo.
Okay.
But anyway, the last decade or so has not been good to them. They've kind of fallen away into nothing. Kind of some, I don't want to say bad editors. I know the previous editor and great guy.
Sure.
I would just say wrong editors. The last couple of
not being able to touch base with today's generation.
Right. Not really gun guys.
Yeah.
And not really magazine guys either. So, it's kind of one of those things they were put in a situation. They did the best they could. But so the magazine has kind of fallen into a state of disrepair. And then in 2016, when I was hired, I was kind of tasked with bringing it back. And so December of that year, we relaunched it with new, improved photography, completely different layout, completely different look. And it's a good looking magazine now. I've gotten a lot of feedback from it.
Yeah.
Problem is, the magazine right now is outstanding. I have some great writers. And even when it was in disrepair, there were still some really good writers. Just stuff didn't fall into place. But now I've gotten a lot of great feedback on it. We just have to get word out about it that it is a high quality magazine and a lot of good info, good writers.
Mm-hmm. Accurate information.
Yes.
Not putting out fake news. Now, Gun World, that suggests that it's everything firearms, everything guns. Do you guys have a specialty that you're doing, or do you actually write about everything?
That's a very correct assessment. We write about everything, and I guess to compare it, we're kind of like a Guns and Ammo type magazine. We're not specific to any one genre. We're not like a handgun magazine, not rifles, not new, not old.
Not hunting.
We cover everything,
yeah.
Which is perfect for me because of my eclectic taste in guns. I like everything. So we've even ran little thing on BB guns before. We've covered black powder.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you say BB guns, you doing air guns or you doing like...
I'm sorry, air guns, yes.
Okay, BB guns.
People think of like BB guns like little Red Riders, but
right.
more of...
Or the pumps.
CO2 pumps, but...
Yeah, but these are
some of these are actually, you can actually hunt with them.
No, you can. The air gun has evolved into to where it is today. Like you said, you could take down big game with it. People actually hunt big game, deer, and probably bigger. I think they've taken down with. I've heard with.
Well, especially in Europe and a lot of places where they can't have real guns, and I say real guns jokingly.
Yeah.
because if there's anybody out there that are
the
air gun
atypical
guys, they're
gun.
like, what do you mean real guns? Air guns are real guns.
Yeah, right.
So, but anyway, yeah, they do it over there. There's a lot of development over there because that's the only thing they can use.
Mm-hmm.
Although some countries are actually starting to ban air guns now. So
yeah. Oh, they're banning knives. They're
Jesus.
banning knives over in Europe. Yeah.
Lord help us.
They got the guns, now they're going after the knives. It's ridiculous. But yeah, you guys, you cover guns, ammo, gear, hunting. You do defense, so you talk military type.
Yeah, we have like for my columnists, we have a optics column, we have a personal defense column, which is a former Green Beret.
Mm-hmm.
We have everyday carry, hunting. Brad Fitzpatrick does our hunting, and a lot of your listeners might be familiar with him. He writes for everybody.
Okay.
Great writer. We have a woman's column, and it was actually, as far as I know, the first column in a national gun magazine written by a woman for women.
Nice.
And I kind of call it for women and the men in their lives, because sometimes the article will actually be aimed more towards boyfriends, husbands, things like that. And us gun guys, if we are dating or with a woman who is not particularly a gun woman, I'll give tips on how to get them into guns, how to get them excited about it, stuff like that. So great. And right now, Michelle Serino, who her husband is Chris Serino.
Chris Serino from Top Shot. Yeah.
Anyway,
great 3-gun competitor, both of them.
Oh, yeah. Great couple. Michelle, Chris, they are some wonderful people.
Yeah, I think I actually met them at Rock Castle, that shooting facility up in Kentucky. I think it might have been Trigicon. I can't remember if it was Trigicon or whatnot, but they don't remember me. But I did meet them one time. She
is a legit gun person. I mean, she helps her husband. They have a training school. She helps run that. So, and she was actually my training columnist for a while, just to give you an indication of how knowledgeable she is on gun training. Yeah. She's incredible. So she's not just a booth babe that you see at SHOT Show. She is a legit gun person. She knows. We would
love to have Michelle on the show sometime.
And I would love to have her on your show. And we had this conversation yesterday. She would love to be on your show.
I was leading into that. So, as you lead heads know, I've been putting the call out to our female listeners, the ladies. I want to hear from you. I want to know that you are listening to our show, and we want to have more topics that interest you as well. So, yes, we are going to work on getting Michelle on the show, and it's going to be completely up to her, but maybe it might turn into a recurring kind of thing like we did back in the day with Gabby Franco. So if there's topics, subjects, people that you want us to have on the show as a female listener of Talking Lead, we want to hear from you. Send me an email, talkinglead@gmail.com. And in preparation to have Michelle on, go ahead and shoot me some questions. And you guys can shoot the questions too. Any questions that you may have for Miss Serino or Mrs. Serino, I would. So very cool. So you've got Michelle doing a woman's column for you?
Yes.
And what's that called?
Artemis Armed.
Artemis Armed.
Artemis.
Okay.
The woman huntress / weapon person. It's like a Greek mythology thing. Artemis.
Yeah. Is that the female hunter? The Greek?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hunter / war / weapons.
Nice.
That type of thing.
Now, we were talking earlier about how print media has kind of dwindled a little bit. It doesn't seem to be as popular as it once was. And people are attributing, they're just saying it's dead. Saying print media is dead. It's a dinosaur, which, isn't necessarily true. Now it's time for the Talking Lead
Facts to fight the myths
with Robb Manning. So Robb, help us understand why people may think that print media is dead.
Well, it certainly is hurting. It's changing. It is evolving, and I think it's just technology. It's just the way things are. I mean, you've heard most newspapers are struggling and going bankrupt and out because people go to the internet now. Magazines are similar. You could go to a drugstore about 5 years ago, and they had a whole aisle magazine rack. Now it's like 2 feet wide. So it's not just guns; it's all magazines. It's because
it's all paper printed
magazines, but they're just doing digital delivery on their tablets.
Yeah, it's still printed. It's just in a different form now. I'm sitting here looking. Anytime you go to a website, a web page, that's still print. It's just taken on a different form.
Right.
So the magazines who haven't switched over to digital media, they're the ones that are really hurting. But unlike Gun World saw that, and they have since adapted. And we have
an app you can get digital delivery through.
You can get digital delivery, so you don't want to deal with the paper. Then you got the longevity thing too. Magazines wear out over time. They get ripped, they get torn, they get wet. With digital, it's forever.
And our spouses yell at us for having stacks of gun magazines around the house, and
you don't want to throw it away either. I mean, that's the great thing about magazines is I don't ever want to throw them away. I want to keep them. I'm a hoarder, I guess. Especially if they've got awesome
have that one
cover.
Good article you don't want to lose,
Right. Or I just haven't quite got through the whole thing yet. I'll get to it, eventually.
Right.
I've got magazines from, 15 years ago I still have.
To me, they're more like encyclopedias of information.
They are. They really are. But now with the digital media, it makes it even easier for you guys. So hey, I read that article, you can go to the website, put in a search, and it'll go back and reference, an article 5 years ago. So,
that's the one cool thing about it. I can go on my iPad and go to our app. And for example, if I'm looking up, when was the last time I ran an article about a particular manufacturer, I can do a search and it'll pull up every magazine that has that manufacturer listed in it, which is cool. Now, unfortunately, we only go back to 2014.
Yeah.
So it's not like our whole archive of every.
Now, do you have plans of going back further and archiving some of your other ones?
That would be a question above my pay grade.
Your pay grade? I think it would be an excellent thing to do.
I know there's a whole
it's expensive
process,
as hell.
And it's not cheap.
Nope, it's not.
Especially pre-digital age stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like 1960s era magazines, it'd be kind of hard to...
But getting those articles back out and in circulation would be priceless. That would be good
It'd
to
be
see how
cool to like us gun nuts, but to everybody, how practical would that be? How many people would actually want a 1960s magazine on digital to look at?
I think a lot of people would. Because I'd be interested in going back and seeing how opinions have changed and evolved over the years.
Yeah, true.
But some stuff is still tried and true too. And it'd be interesting to see what's actually survived. Popular opinion over the years.
Oh yeah. In preparation for our 60th anniversary, I actually went on eBay and bought some old issues from like 1960 and 1961, and some pretty neat stuff in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it would be interesting just to go and see how the culture has changed and evolved over the years, and see, how the gun community used to be, versus how it is today. And maybe that's how we get back to our grassroots too, is by organizations like yourself, Gun World Magazine, going back to these old articles and saying, this is how it was done in the olden days. What changed? What happened?
Right. Some of the advertisements are pretty interesting too.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Rifle to school.
Yeah.
Shoot squirrels on the way home.
Yeah, I'm sure there's political opinions that are in those old magazines that people had. I'm sure, there was some talk of gun grabbers back then, some liberals back in those days as well. I mean, it'd be interesting to see how they talked about it, how they handled it. Again, the advertisers that were in the magazines back then versus today. That I think that would just be.
I think it'd be pretty cool.
It'd be great. I think it'd be great. I think
the cost benefit.
I think it could help us with our existing gun culture as well, and maybe helping to try to understand why people think that the way that they do, whether it's pro or anti-gun. I don't know.
I hear you.
Just a thought. I have these thoughts every now and again. But yeah, so the myth is that print media is dead. Well, it's really not. It's just evolved. It's changed. It's morphed into digital now.
Yes.
So magazines are still alive. They're still very popular. Some people still do like that touchy-feely, got to have it in your hand kind of thing, and you guys are still doing that. So
correct.
There are still,
and I still think magazines have something to offer, and I think the biggest thing we have to offer is the fact that we have an editorial process that our information goes through, whereas online, people pretty much, it's like throwing crap against a wall and seeing what sticks. People will say anything and write anything, and the accuracy of it is like an afterthought, is the actual facts, So there's a lot of, and this is where a lot of gun misconceptions are happening on the internet. So now for us, every article that's submitted, it goes through 5 to 6 different read-throughs. I look at it, then my managing editor looks at it, then I look at it again, and then she looks at it again, and that goes to our art director, and then we look at it again, each of us,
right,
and then take one final look right before it goes to print. So I mean, it's being looked at a number of times.
And the reason that they're doing that is because it costs a lot of money, because once you got it on paper and you're printing, how many issues do you guys print a month?
I have to look that up. I don't remember.
I mean, you're printing thousands and thousands of issues each month. That's let's say you got something wrong, and then you have to go back and redo that. So, and
that's, it's almost like print magazines. It's a little bit more like
forces quality control.
It's more like canon, like you talk about your comic books, it's once it's there, that's kind of the gospel. Whereas on the internet, it's just nobody really cares. They just throw it up. Sometimes, now there are some reputable websites, and they'll make corrections and things like that if there's any errors.
Sure,
but
that's the thing, and that's my point is, you can put it up on the internet, you can do it digitally, but it's a lot quicker, it's immediate. You can change it immediately, and it doesn't cost you really anything at that point. Right. If you've got something wrong, whereas in print, once you put it out there, it's out there. You can't get that back once you've printed it, you've sent it out, and then you discover, oh shit, we were wrong about this.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the great thing about the print media is you get that extra level of quality control because you want to make sure that you're accurate. You want to make sure that it's there, that you're not going to have this very costly error that's going to, bankrupt your company. So that's why you've got it. And I think that's where a lot of the digital companies have gotten away from, that quality control, because I see so many misspelled words or in reputable, so-called reputable. It's like, how does this get through?
And it's, some of that stuff, it's, it's kind of like seeing the trees through the forest. You kind of get stuck. And, I can see where simple mistakes like that do happen, as far as grammar and stuff.
Well, I can see that too. But in the print magazine, you really don't see that because of the quality control, because of so many eyes that are on it and, seeing it. It's very rare that you will see it in print. Right.
And I think one of the reasons why people have gravitated to the internet is the timeliness of it. If there's a new gun, people want to know about it instantly, so they go to the internet. Whereas with print, we're going to be 2 months behind that just because of our process.
Yeah.
So, but that's also one of our benefits is that we know it's not going to be fast, so we take our time and we do it right.
Yeah.
We get the right information. We can do more in-depth testing. Sometimes on the internet, it's more of a mad rush to we can get the information first.
Yeah.
And so the accuracy comes second, speed is first.
Right.
And then once it's posted, maybe they'll, do corrections, updates,
which
or whatever.
Which is exactly, you say that's the way the news is, the TV broadcast news. It's who can be first. Whether we're accurate or not, we just want to be first to get it out there, and then we'll deal with the chaos after. And that's what a lot of them
likes and follows, and that's
same thing with these mass shootings. They want to be the first to report, and then all of a sudden, first he's got an AR. Well, no, he's not got an AR. He had a handgun. No, it was a shotgun. No, it was, and then 3 weeks later, you actually find out exactly what it was, and then, but like you said, the damage is done once they've already done it, once they've thrown it out there.
Well, let's face it, the media doesn't, as far as gun knowledge, they don't know.
And I apologize, I'm not comparing your magazine to that news. Just that was a tangent. Went down a rabbit hole. We'll get back.
Yeah. No, I got you.
let's get back.
Interestingly, there's actually a guy, anti-gunner, who started a website aimed at media with correct gun terminology so they don't sound as much like idiots.
Oh, well, that's good, I guess, to a certain extent. Yeah. But I think if they started using the correct words and they knew what was what, then that would help them understand that what they're reporting isn't actual. You know what I'm saying?
Well, if they're not slanted in their opinion, I mean, I think a lot of them, that's kind of their agenda, and they want to push the anti-gun narrative.
No, I agree with you, but at the same time, I think a lot of them are just doing what they're told to do too, and they don't really understand what they're doing, and they're just taking the popular term that they've been told to use, not understanding what it means and what the actual thing is. So it villainizes and makes it sound and look a lot worse than it actually is, and that's their goal a lot of times. But I think if they were forced to use the proper terminology and the proper definitions and descriptions, then they wouldn't be able to do as much harm as they do. Just my opinion. So that is our fact to fight the myth. So print is still alive. It's just evolved into a new form. It's not print paper as much, but you guys can go to gunworld.com and you can subscribe right there. There's a subscribe button. And I guess it'll gives you the option to do digital or paper
or both.
Or both. Okay. Yeah. And you can have it sent right to your front door.
Yep.
Or you could just walk on down to your local.
They have them at Walmart,
Books A Million,
Barnes Noble.
Yeah, you can't go to Kroger, unfortunately. Can't go to Kroger.
Now, the one benefit to actual subscribing to the hard copies, you're going to get it about 2 weeks before everybody else.
Okay. So you get it
You even
sooner.
get it faster than digital.
Nice.
Digital, hard copy subscribers about 2 weeks early. Digital is about 1 week, all before it hits the newsstands.
Okay, there you go. So make sure you guys go show Robb some love and start subscribing to Gun World. So, Robb, what do you guys have on the horizon? What can we expect from Gun World coming up in the next couple of months?
Well, our October issue, which is on newsstands now, we have a suppressor special, just kind of a little roundup of some different suppressors that are on the market that we use and like and have tested.
Okay.
A lot of magazines run gear reviews and stuff like that, and one of the things I pride myself on is we actually test everything, or not, I shouldn't say everything, but where applicable. There's obviously some things we can't test, like that warthog.
Yeah.
But we test everything, and we don't necessarily do torture testing specifically, but we do real world testing.
Yeah.
What you would put it through.
See,
if you used it.
That's what I'm glad you brought that up too, because I guess the destruction tests have its place, but that's like 0.0001% of people who own that are going to have that scenario to where they do that with it. Yeah, it's great to know that it could do that, it could survive that, but what I want to see is real world applications and how it performs and how it holds up. So, yeah, I'm glad you said that. Go ahead.
So, anyway, that's our October issue. We have a lot of good stuff in there. One of the big things to look for is in 2019, our anniversary year, we're going to be doing some monthly giveaways.
Ooh, nice.
And people will you'll be able to enter on gunworld.com. And I can't say as to what we're doing yet.
Uh-huh.
They'll have to check in on the website or the magazine, but it'll be some really, really good stuff.
Very cool. Yeah, so not unlike the Talking Lead podcast, where we have been celebrating our 5th year this whole year in doing giveaways. We're giving away awesome watches from Defi Watches. We're giving away AK-47s from Pioneer Arms. We're giving
That
away...
is a great company right there. We had such a good time over there.
That was great. I want to go back, man.
I know, me too.
Love those guys. We're giving away Talking Lead swag. We're giving away other items from our other sponsors and friends of the show. So I think there's probably going to be another giveaway this episode, Robb.
Sweet.
Yeah. So Gun World 2019, looking for your, is it 60th anniversary?
60th. Yep.
60th anniversary. That's huge, coming up 2019, and they're going to have some awesome giveaways, I have no doubt. So make sure you guys go and check out Gun World on Facebook. You can check them out on Instagram. They've got a YouTube channel and, of course, the magazine. Subscribe on gunworld.com or go pick it up at your local non-anti-gun establishment.
Non-anti-American establishments.
There you go. So, I think that's a good segue into our giveaways for the Talking Lead podcast. So, Rob, we've got this thing that we've been doing with Defi Watches and FLEOA, which is the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association, to where we are giving away 14 watches to 14 vets. And we're 10 watches into it now, so then we got 4 more to go. So let's dive into our Leadhead bag of nominations here. And this one comes from, let me make sure this is the right one. Okay. So this one comes from Austin W. And Austin writes, says, I am a new listener of Talking Lead. So welcome to the show, Leadhead Austin. I would like to nominate my father-in-law, who is a former police officer of Bryan PD of Bryan, Texas. Bryan. Below is what my wife had to say. So Mrs. W says, my name is Jenna, and I'd like to nominate my father, Albert. For more than 32 years, my father's been a police officer. He's always had a strong passion for helping others, upholding laws, and keeping people safe. He has worked patrol for most of that time, but has also taken on other roles in law enforcement. He has worked as a hostage negotiator, detective, jailer, although his passion is being out on patrol. He has also volunteered teaching other officers Spanish in order to help communicate with the citizens they come in contact with. That's cool. He loves to interact with the community and to impact as many people's lives as he can. My father is the type of person that will always treat others with respect, no matter who he comes in contact with, what laws they have broken, or how they treat him. He believes in treating everyone with respect and dignity. He's one of a kind, and I'm very proud of all his accomplishments and giving back to the community. I'm keeping my loved ones close and my firearms closer. Austin and Jenna. Awesome, Austin. So, yes, your father-in-law, Jenna's father, Albert, is going to be the recipient of this week's 14 watches for 14 vets from Defi, Talking Lead, and FLEOA. Congratulations. Send me your contact information, talkinglead@gmail.com, and we will make sure that Albert gets that watch. And I think what Jenna is saying about her father there is indicative of the majority of police officers out there. You know, the media, obviously, with their agendas, has shed our law enforcement men and women in a negative light. But this is the true, the true heroes that are out there, the majority of our law enforcement men and women.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So thank you for sending that in, guys. We'll definitely make sure that Albert gets that watch. Very cool. You
know what's kind of scary? You kind of bring up the topic of law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
So the very people who would disarm us as a population so that we have to rely on law enforcement, and as they say, and I love cops, don't get me wrong, but most of them will tell you, when violence happens, they're 5 minutes away, or whatever that saying is.
Yeah.
So they want us to rely on law enforcement. However, these same people are now vilifying law enforcement. So if they had their way, we would have no guns and no cops. And what in the hell?
There'd be no rule of law. I mean,
what kind of anarchy are we going to live in if these people have their way?
It would be like Europe. It would be like living in Europe. People getting beat to death with bats and stabbed and run over by cars. And
now, it depends on where you're at in Europe, though. I mean,
I know. I'm just teasing.
We hardly saw any police
the UK.
when we were there, except for that one who gave us the parking ticket.
And when I say Europe, I mean the UK.
The boot. We got the boot in Poland.
Sorry, our UK listeners. I'm just teasing. We got UK listeners over there too. Alan, my good buddy Alan. We need to get Alan on and give us an update of what the situation is over there.
I think in general, if they're listening to your show, most gun people I have met around the world are all very decent, respectful, good citizens.
Yes. So guys, make sure if you've got, we've got 3 more watches to give away. So make sure that if you want to get somebody nominated for that, you send us talkinglead@gmail.com. I want the watch in the subject. Send us the nomination, who you'd like to nominate, why. If it's yourself, it's fine. We've had several people that say, hey, I want the watch. I was law enforcement. I was fireman. I was military. And we've given those away. just send them in. However you want to send them, whoever you want to nominate. Just make sure it's legit, please. And I trust you, leadheads. TalkingLead@gmail.com. I want the watch. And then, like I said before, I've been calling on you ladies. I've got a swag package just for you ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Not had anybody send me an email yet. TalkingLead@gmail.com. I've got some Remington apparel to send. A cool Remington hat. It's pink. And we got a cool Remington Shooters team shirt as well. Got several of those and several of the hats. Courtesy of our good friend Morgan Mills. You know Morgan Mills, the country music singer, and Remington. So send it in, guys. Tell your wives to send me an email, talkinglead@gmail.com. And in the subject, just put lady listener. Lady listener. That'd be a good topic. I'll find that easy. So still looking for our first giveaway on that. Want to read a couple more things before we go, Rob. I know we've been on here a while, but I've got to go to iTunes. I always go to iTunes, and I encourage people to leave us feedback, ratings, reviews on iTunes. So let's go and see what we've got here. We've got B. Bout Forest. It says, my brother Alex K. recommended me to this podcast while I'm working, and it's actually one I can sit here and listen to while I work and not get bored. How about that? 5-star rating. Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. And thanks to Alex. Alex K. You guys know Alex. He's won a couple of swag packages, and he won one of the AKs from our Talking Lead AK Corner, which next month, it's going to be a great episode. So you guys make sure you tune in. We're going to have an awesome guest, and we're giving away that custom Cerakoted AK-47 from Blackout Custom Cerakotes.
Is that the one I saw on your Instagram?
That is one that Blackout Cerakotes did, but not necessarily. That may or may not be the one we're giving away.
I've seen some of their work, and it is incredible.
Another one we got says Talking Lead European Vacation. So that's our trip that we took, Rob and I. Another 5-star. It was
kind of like the Chevy Chase European Vacation too.
It was
the hijinks.
Yeah, it's just a little more. Yeah, a little more dangerous.
More guns and tanks.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. So it says, thanks for the interesting report from your trip to Poland, the homeland of my father. Your discussion with Thomas Stephen, which he was the gun rights activist for it's Europe. I think it's a European establishment. Illustrated how similar the challenges to gun ownership in Poland are to those in the U.S. In the second part of the podcast on Pioneer Arm AK factory review and discussion, you definitely help people realize the precision and attention to detail that goes into an AK build along with your monthly AK podcast. You're definitely providing the AK a forum for greater exposure and enhanced understanding of the platform's potential. Thanks again to Pioneer Arms for opening your doors and hosting Talking Lead in Poland. P.S. Great end of summer discount code for X-Steel targets. A new Black Widow stand with a C-Zone, a 3/8 steel target, and 3 additional round targets are on the way today. And don't forget, keep your AK closer. Flyer 357. Very cool. So I'm glad to see that you leadheads are taking advantage of these discount codes that we're getting you from these companies, from our sponsors. It's definitely something they don't have to do, but they do it just for you leadheads exclusively. So make sure you're taking advantage of those when we give them out. So, Ohio, you've won a swag package before, so I'm going to go with B. Bout Forest, and he's going to win a Talking Lead swag package. So, talkinglead@gmail.com, B. Bout Forest. Shoot me an email with your contact info. We'll hook you up.
Hey, can I give out a quick shout-out?
Shout it. Do it.
Awesome. I'm a big firm believer in locally owned gun shops, and especially guys that are knowledgeable and gunsmith and all that. Yep. And I have a local gun shop here who does all of my transfers. I honestly would have a hard time running a magazine without him getting these guns in for me. MJ, Matt Boge at mjgunshop.com. Great site, and he's actually in development of a pretty sweet muzzle brake and a few other things. But, if people could maybe check out his website. Okay. Really, really good guy.
Cool. Has he got a Facebook page too?
I would have to look. I'm not sure.
Okay. You guys go to his website, Leadheads. Just inundate him with Leadhead visits to his website. If he's got a place to send him an email or is there a link to his Facebook page there, click on it and just say, hey, heard about you on Talking Lead. That'd be awesome. We'd appreciate that. We also appreciate all the companies that make this show possible. The official optics of Talking Lead, Right On Optics. Check them out, rightonusa.com. X Steel Targets. You just heard about some deals that O-Flyer got, and I'm sure some of you other lead heads took advantage of. They're always running great deals over there. Their prices are already low and inexpensive for those AR 500 steel targets. Check them out, xsteeltargets.com. Modern Spartan Systems. Don't just clean your firearms, optimize them with Modern Spartan Systems line of gun products, cleaning products, oil products, lubes, and, of course, their TVT engine oil additive. ModernSpartanSystems.com. 1776United.com for all your Talking Lead swag and apparel. And you go and get those Talking Lead assault mugs, the evil black assault mugs. You can get those at dip123.com/Talking Lead. Still working on getting them over on 1776, but they're coming. Trust me. I've said it the past 2 months, but they're going to get there.
It's a good-looking mug, too.
Yeah, man. I love it. Better than a Yeti, the Talking Leady keeps your drinks minutes colder than a Yeti. I did a side-by-side test. Well, I put 3 ice cubes in both, let them sit there, and the Talking Leady still had the ice where the other one was still cold. Yeti's still cold. They work great. Just not as good.
Now, you're a Southerner. You drink sweet tea in your cup?
I drink sweet tea. I drink milk. I drink whiskey. I drink beer. I drink everything out of it, man.
My wife is a Mississippi girl, and she got me hooked on sweet tea.
There's a difference between adding, sugar to a unsweet tea and having a brewed sweet tea. There is a difference.
Oh, yeah. You can't add sugar to tea that's already cold. It has to be still hot.
It's got to be brewed.
Brewing it, yeah.
Brew it with the sugar in it, and, yeah, sweat tea.
It's about the breakdown and chemical composition. And
exactly.
That. It's like chemistry.
We'll have a show on that one day. How to make the proper sweet tea. We'll do that here on Talking Lead. And, of course, I want to give a big thanks to Warren Scope Mounts, WARNE. They have pretty much every mount you need for any scope. If you want to make sure that you're getting the proper mounts, you guys go to warrenscopemounts.com, and they will hook you up. Let them know that you're a lead head. And
I love Warren mounts. I have a lot of them. There's a lot of people always ask me what's my favorite product, and there are so many companies that make some awesome stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, for mounts, I love Warren. And
that's something people don't think about either. Is when they get a scope, they just because a lot of scopes don't come with the mounts. You have to go get them. I'll run down to Academy and I'll just pick up one of those single prong kind of scope mounts. But there's a lot that goes into mounting your scope, and you want to have a good solid scope mount that's gonna hold, because you want to hold that zero. Otherwise, if you get a shitty mount, then you're gonna have to re-zero your scope every freaking time you go out and shoot. Probably sometimes during your shoot.
It's kind of one of those overlooked things, kind of like a belt for everyday carry. People overlook the belt, but you got to have a good belt.
Yeah.
Mounts are almost the same exact thing. You have to have a good mount for that. People spending thousands of dollars on rifles and scopes, and then they'll go out and buy like the cheapest mount they could find.
Right.
That's not a good solution right there. Not a good plan.
No, not at all. So you can't go wrong with Warren, guys. Check them out, Warren Scope Mounts. And then, of course, Pioneer Arms for our AK Corner segment that we do monthly. Big thanks to them. Thanks to Mike and CJ again for making our trip to Poland so unforgettable.
Amen. They treated us like kings, man.
I mean, that's an understatement. I can't overstate that enough. I mean, that we were treated like kings.
With the exception of that one hotel in your bacon incident.
The bacon, yeah. Yeah, and they serve bacon that's like halfway cooked. So I like my bacon cooked.
They had to pull the chef from home. He went home. They had to pull him from his home and family to cook your bacon properly.
Hey, I just asked, can you cook this a little longer?
Oh, no, you didn't just ask. You followed her
Well, she's like, come this way. I was like, okay. I thought she was taking me to the kitchen.
You were like stalking her.
She had to call somebody. She got on the phone, called
Put on
somebody.
slippers. You probably worked all night cooking that breakfast.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Anyway, I learned my lesson about the bacon. But yeah, make sure you go support those that support this show. Without them, we wouldn't be able to bring you all this cool content and awesome guests like Robb. Robb, again, thank you so much for taking the time to be on and sharing info about Gun World.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
And we're looking forward to doing some collaborations with you guys in the future. Robb and I are talking and trying to iron some things out, but don't be surprised if you hear more from Gun World on the Talking Lead podcast.
Oh yeah, whether they want to or not.
It's gonna happen. So guys, we will be back with another episode of the Talking Lead podcast. Next episode, guys, we're bringing back a blast from the past is all I can say right now, but we've got another big announcement that we're going to make. Next week is our trip to the Iraq Vet 888888 YouTube range day. So this episode is going to kind of coincide with our trip there, but you guys are going to be excited about our guests. I'm just going to leave it at that. So until next episode, Leadheads, as always, keep your loved ones close.
And your firearms and Gun World magazine closer.